Oh, hi guys. So I'm with Andrea at the moment. Andrea did some one-to-one coaching with me, and I think a major transformation. She still doesn't believe how great she is, which is what happens with the whole confidence thing. So I thought what I'll do, I'm going to bring Andrea in and have a chat with her, because she did a session at one of my bite-sized sessions the other day, and she tore the house down. And no one believed it. That they were like, what is she doing here? She doesn't need your help. So I thought I'm going to have Andrea, this is in conversation with Andrea, we're going to talk to her just about the whole coaching process that she went through from beginning to end. So hi Andrea, thanks for coming, thanks for joining me. You have been amazing. Thank you so much. So let's take it from the beginning, Andrea. How were you before you started your coaching, before you started your one-to-one coaching with me?
Well, so I'm in academia.
Right.
Which is, I've always felt a little bit like an outsider. I've always felt like I don't necessarily belong there.
Right.
And I've always just hated public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, it's part of the job when you are doing a PhD like I am, you need to present your ideas. So I've always felt really exposed, and every time I've had to present, I've hated every second of it. I've been nervous from like 2 weeks before the presentation, and then while I was doing it, I was never really happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I genuinely felt like, well, if I'm going to be doing this, then I need to get some help.
Okay, so tell me about you saying you never felt you fitted in. That's quite key, because I do meet a lot of people who are academics, who are from the tech world, who talk about not fitting in or feeling like they fit in. Could you just expand on that a little bit more?
I guess I have this image in my head of an ideal academic, which is very intellectual, eloquent, comfortable with himself. So I think it's important. I've always kind of had this idea of an ideal academic as being male, and hugely theoretical, which are things that I've never really felt like I am. I'm not really eloquent. I'm quite shy, and I guess I just don't like being exposed in many ways. So I kind of feel like all of these different attributes that an academic has, I just don't really have them.
Interesting. So just so that the audience knows, tell me a little bit about when you first started doing public speaking, all those nerves and what have you going inside. Because I remember your very first email to me, and I thought, oh my gosh, it was it was like, I'm so nervous, I can't speak, blah, blah. Tell me about some of those feelings that you were going through.
So every time I know I have to present, I get literally physically ill. I just I have like I start sweating, and if I picture just the idea of me presenting, I just can't cope with it, which is probably something you felt when I sent you that first email.
Yeah, I did.
And probably you've heard it many times
over
before.
And over again. Yeah, I mean, what you're describing is what everybody goes through, right? They go through this whole thing of the nerves, the palpitations, the sweats, and what have you. It is so normal. But I know from the feedback you got from last week's presentation, when you done the presentation to my bite-sized group, they would think that's an absolute lie. They can't imagine you feeling like that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I was also impressed, but to be honest, I mean, everyone that knows me, they just, even when I had to present years ago, every time I have to do it, I just collapse. I just have I'm not myself, and I'm just this weird person that is afraid of everything, and it's just so counterproductive.
Cool. And what's key there is you saying that you're not yourself. That's really quite interesting, because one of the things we fought with was you bringing yourself to the stage. I remember that in the process.
Yeah. I think that was, to be honest, one of the most important things you've said to me, because I've always felt that I have to perform as someone I'm not, and you just said, well, do you have to be yourself? And I don't think anyone's told me that, and I think that was key. for the whole process.
And how hard did you find that? Because it's something that comes up all the time. People say you need to be yourself. Everyone knows that. To be a great public speaker, you have to bring yourself to the stage. What comes up more. But these are just words. Bring yourself to your stage. Be yourself. That's quite hard for many people because they've been in this strangulation of being somebody that they're not. So now being yourself after 20, 30, 40 years of being something else, that's really quite hard. So before you tell me about how you actually achieved that in the end, how you did bring yourself to the stage, let's just go back to the beginning, if you remember the process right at the beginning. So if you could explain to the audience what happened from the off.
So in terms of how I contacted you?
Yes, you contacted me, and then what was the process?
So I sent you an email because I was interested in one of the events that you were organising, and I quickly mentioned that I had a presentation and I was nervous, and then you said, well, why don't you come with me and we have a session and we talk about it and we can deal with it. So I said, great. So we had a one-to-one session, which was about an hour, and it was really useful. And then after that, well, you sent me some more tips. I had some slides, and you also looked into my slides and you changed them and you gave me more tips on that. And then there was this session, and there was other ladies there, and you made me present part of my presentation as well.
And I also sent you some videos beforehand, didn't I? Before you actually came along, because for me the whole thing is I want to exhilarate that learning process. We don't have months and months and months. In fact, Andrea had 2 weeks before her session, so it was quite key for me to get this, to exhilarate the process as much as possible. So I sent you some videos beforehand. Just tell us a little bit about those.
So I think I explained to you that I kind of felt like as in academia is a bit more difficult because everything is being scrutinized, every little word you say. And you sent me 3 presentations, 2 by females. One of them is an academic, right? And I think that was really useful because it's almost like, well, yeah, she's doing it, so why can't I do it?
Exactly. And I do that on purpose. And when I meet people who are academics, who are scientists, engineers, I always send them this particular video, because I want them to see how, even as being an academic, even as being an engineer, you bring yourself to the stage. You want people to connect with you. You want people to connect with your emotions and for you to be who you are. And in particular, there's one video I love to send people, which is Amy Cuddy, who is probably the biggest, most famous academic in the world, and she cries on the stage. And for me, I sometimes think, well, people won't trust me when I tell them they're going to bring themselves to the stage, because they'll probably think, well, you're not an academic, what do you know? I don't believe you. So I do send these examples out beforehand. Fantastic. So I'm glad they were useful. So I remember, so for me the process started beforehand, because I need to get you sorted before we even get here. But what I remember in particularly when we were doing you done your first one, you were on a race. I remember the sheer speed of her talk. I was like, gosh, hold on. And a lot of that is to do with your culture, you felt. So tell me a bit about that, how difficult it was for you to go from racing down the track to really pulling that back and delivering in a way that was more compelling.
Well, I'm from Peru originally, and we are known for speaking really fast within kind of the other countries in Latin America. So I always speak really, really fast. If anything, English has slowed me down a little bit.
Right.
And also within presentations, I'm presenting the work that I've been doing for the past 3 years, and I have to do that in 15 minutes. So I think I need to put as much information in it as possible. And also, I guess a part of me felt that if I stopped for 2 seconds or 3 seconds, it just meant that people will feel like, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Interesting.
Which is something I learned with you is completely the opposite.
Quite, yeah, it shows that control, absolutely. And I remember when you first started doing the pauses where I wanted you to feel them and use them, I remember you saying, but I'm now forgetting what I'm going to say next.
Yes.
So that in itself was a bit of a challenge initially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I felt I wasn't in control of my poses, I think.
Indeed.
And I think you said that I actually should use them as a tool to be in control of the audience as well.
Indeed.
But I think I still have to work on it, though.
Really? Okay, well I'll show you your video back and I'll show you now how beautiful it is. Interesting. Okay, so you left here and I remember I gave you quite a tough practice regime. Tell us a bit about that.
I think that's another thing that I took out, which was very important. You said that it just doesn't come out. It's not a given. No, you have to practice. And you said I have to practice 1 hour for every minute of presentation. Yeah.
And that's a lot, right?
It is a lot. And I said, well, and you said, well, just trust me. And I did.
Thank you.
And I literally just spent that whole week. I was in the morning before breakfast practicing, throughout the day. Every time I had some time, I would practice and practice. I literally, that whole week, I did not stop practicing.
I adore you. You're making my hair stand on end.
But I thought I'll just follow the recipe the exact way, you know. And then if even by doing that it doesn't work, then I've got no kind of chance. But it did work, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, at least at least I felt much more comfortable.
Fabulous. And then I also gave you quite a comprehensive analysis, didn't I, covering all the aspects of communication.
Yeah.
But I always thought your body language was quite good. I always loved your body language, and I didn't want you to lose that, because I think this is some of the things that can happen with people who are academics, is that they think, well, I've got to stand there like straight-jacket Sally's. And I didn't want Andrea to do that. I wanted her to keep her body language. And yeah, you're right. For me, I need you to trust me, and most importantly, trust yourself. And so for me, it was fantastic that you knew you could keep that. I think at the beginning there was one page you were going to be quite staged, because you were going to do straight jacket Sally, which I'm totally against. And then once I told you your body language was great, which was fabulous, because we talk about this all the time. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So your body language, I've always loved it. I just wanted you to feel comfortable using it. Okay, cool. So we've had our session, we've had our coaching, we've had some analysis. You've practiced non-stop. Thank you so much. I keep telling people, you're not born like this. Okay, it comes through sheer practice. Thank you so much. And you also had to send me some videos of some of your practice sessions, and I was pretty harsh.
Yeah.
And you took it on the chin. So please show the audience about that session and the feedback that you got and how you felt about that.
So yeah, I mean, I practiced, and of course I was doing it in the mirror, right? So I had no feedback. So I started sending the videos to Ingrid to see whether she can give me some feedback, and she did every day. And I think a couple of the videos that I sent is good, because she replied, you know, yeah, okay, this is good. I see no passion. This is not working. You need to do it again and send it to me again. You know?
Our task was,
but it was good because he was honest. And I mean, if you're going to be, I'd rather have you telling me these things than me having to go in front of an audience and having to do it and make all the mistakes, right?
Indeed.
So yeah, I mean, it was really useful that I had that, because it kind of also, I think that also means that if you get a one-to-one session, it's not just within the hour that you have all the work. It's the whole pre, during, and then post kind of work that you bring, you know, which
Indeed.
is, I think it's really useful. I think it's important for people to know that it's not just within the 60 minutes that you have the one-to-one. It's the whole. It's almost like a whole program in itself.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I think that was probably really useful, because yeah, I mean, it helped me get proper feedback, much more feedback.
Cool. And I remember you were sending them. There was, like I said, there were some great parts. There were some parts I just thought, no. No.
Yeah.
But then I remember also your final video that you sent before you were going to do the speech at the bite-sized session. And I felt like bursting into tears. I was like,
yeah.
That's it, Andrea. That's it. Brilliant. And I felt like crying. I was thinking, that's my girl, you know. And I felt so emotional seeing that, and I remember I was rushing somewhere. I could only see the first 5 minutes. In fact, there was once you sent me a video, I could only see the first 5 minutes. I thought, I'm not going to continue watching this. Like,
Isn't it worth it?
no, I'm not. Next. But when you got there, I felt that magic, and I could have cried, and I thought, thank you, because you were such an excellent student, and you never took offence. You just went back to everything I told you to work on, went back over it and over it and over it. You know, I'm not going to really take any credit, because I just think your commitment to that change is what really made the actual change. So I'm grateful to you, really, for being so fabulous. And then, you then came to the bite-size session. No one had ever seen you before, because I didn't know we'd done this coaching. And you did it then. And tell me about the response afterwards.
Oh my God. I don't know how to explain it. I still don't, I can't believe it. There were the 3 other girls, and they just loved it, and they thought it was great. And yeah, I mean, I think one of them said, if there's anything you can take from today, just honestly believe me from the bottom of my heart, that was amazing. And I think that was so nice, because she didn't know me, and she could have just said, oh, that was cool, you know, that was great, well done. But you could see how she was honest about it. And I think I normally don't really believe that I'm good at things, so having that was just that. I didn't know how to respond to that.
If I rightly remember, you had people saying, I want to be like you, I want to present like you, and she was better than me. No. She kind of flopped on my show. Phenomenal. I mean, she was just phenomenal. And for me, what was so beautiful was that pace, that control, that trust. You know, and I know still, I mean, you still say to me, you still can't feel that greatness, can you? It's which is very normal. We never feel as fabulous as we look, which is why the recordings are quite important. So you done your presentation, which is what the training is all about. Can you share with us the experience?
The real one.
The actual real one. We sent you out there with the lions.
To be honest, I don't actually remember what I said or how I said it.
Indeed.
Because I guess I was nervous. I think my whole approach to it changed. So normally, if I had to present, I would wake up and I just feel ill, and I would just have very kind of I wouldn't be happy. But I was actually quite excited.
And I sent you a on the day preparation as well, didn't I? Was that quite useful?
I mean, when you said I had to go and kind of look at the space, and you know, these visualizations that you also talked about, those were quite useful, because I did arrive there early, and I did sit there, and I stand up in front of where I was going to present, and I looked at everything. No one was there, and I just looked at it, and I said, I can do this. You know?
Wonderful.
So I mean, I think before I did the whole training with you, I just wanted to be able to present and not feel like the world is falling apart, right? I just wanted to get over with it, and I just wanted to not feel like they were going to trash me. But then afterwards, I kind of realized that I felt like I had something to say that was worth saying it.
Beautiful.
And I think that it just changed the approach to it. And I think that day I was excited. I was nervous, but those nerves were exciting. I don't know how to describe it.
Well, I said to you, didn't I? Take that nervous energy and make it excitement.
Yeah, and I've never felt that. For me, nerves have always been a sign of danger.
Indeed.
But in this case, I kind of feel like maybe that changed a little bit. And I don't know whether that will sustain. I hope it will. But at least this
we'll make sure it stays.
But at least this is how I feel now.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Oh, that's fabulous. So, if you were gonna give me 3 takeaways, what did you take away from the whole experience?
As in my learning process, or
as in the learning process, or what are the 3 most important aspects that you take away from the learning process, the bit at the end, from whatever you want to share? 3 things.
I think I probably will start by saying that I think being authentic is probably the best advice I've been given, because I've always felt like I shouldn't be myself. But actually I realized that that was the best tool that I had, because I know myself more than knowing anything else. So that's probably...
Why are you going to make me feel like I'm going to cry? That's so wonderful.
I mean, I think that
because
was
it's
really
the core
important.
of what I want to bring to people, for them to trust to be themselves. And if I could achieve that in the world, then I'd die a happy person when my death came, because it's for people to trust that and to have the confidence to be themselves. And it's at the centre of everything that I do, is for people to be authentic and to trust that. So that makes me feel really emotional. So I've cut you in your three, but I just felt that.
I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I have to say it's huge, because I don't know, I mean, maybe women need more of that. They need more of that advice. Probably, yeah. I just kind of think that it's difficult sometimes for us, at least women in academia. I feel most of my friends, we all struggle a lot with what you call it, the imposter syndrome.
Oh, imposter syndrome, indeed, yes.
We definitely struggle with that.
Yeah.
So I think being themselves is just the best thing that you could do. Then I think the other thing I think is important is the practice, because I genuinely think now that if you're going to present, it doesn't matter whether you're overconfident and everything. I mean, if you are and you present good and you're a good presenter, that's great, but if you don't, then just you need to believe that it's worth training and it's worth practicing and practicing and practicing. And maybe, I don't know, maybe in 10, 20 years from now, I won't have to practice that much.
I still practice.
But yeah, you still have
every
to
day
practice.
in the mirror,
So,
like a lunatic.
I think that's important.
I don't stop.
I think that's important.
Indeed.
Because I guess everyone else would probably be like, oh, why are you gonna practice so much? But I genuinely think that it is important.
Indeed.
To practice
so much.
To practice is really important.
Yeah, it's key.
And I take that with me.
Brilliant.
And I guess the third one is also to trust. So if people are going to work with you, I do believe that just have to trust the process that you present to them. Even though they probably think, oh, I'm not so sure about this, whatever. I just think that, just let yourself go and trust in what the specialist is telling you.
I don't know about that.
I think that
imposter syndrome showing itself there. I don't know about that.
I think that's important, and I think this day and age, trust is something that we lack.
Indeed.
So I mean, I think you know how when you cook, when you're baking, you have to follow the rules, right? It's very scientific.
Indeed.
That's kind of the approach I took to it, and I think that really helped.
Fabulous.
Yeah, whatever you said, I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Cool. Okay. Whatever.
Exactly.
Andrea, you make me want to cry. Thank you so much for trusting me, really, and showing that the magic can happen. And people kept saying to Andrea, and I hear it sometimes as well, is that I want to be like you. And I just always say, look, you don't want to be like me. You don't want to be like Andrea. You want to be like yourself. You want to find that magic within. But I think what they're saying is that we want the confidence like you. I think that's what people are really saying. But we still have our insecurities, right? But it just it's with practice, doesn't it, that we can kind of squash that imposter a bit. So
I mean, and meeting more women like you know.
Oh, thank you so much.
But I mean, at least I think it's good to have these references of women that are kind of out there and doing their own thing and promoting this kind of strength, like female power or whatever.
Indeed.
I think that's very important.
Cool, because we're amazing, right?
Yeah.
Andrew, thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you, sweetheart. I love you, Andrea.